Hello, hello, hello. I forgot how to go live. It's been so long. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so what does that look like on the screen? Let me show you something. I'll play the video again so you can, it's a video taken from the space station of a rocket launch. I think a Dragon launch. Okay, what's that look like on the screen? Let me persuade you a little bit. You guys see that? Just saying. No, it's a rocket launch, and so I don't know what to do first here. So there is some kind of like sort of news, I guess. Let's see here. I think we're just gonna listen to it because I don't want to get in trouble on with YouTube here. So I suppose I should check to make sure everything. You guys can all hear me good, right? I hope. I'm just making sure. I lost my OBS. There it is. Yeah. Okay, you can hear me. Oh no, I just lost that page. Okay. Let's just check this out. So this guy on the left that you'll see, his name is Mark Vande Hei. Oops, I got it muted.
Talk me through your feelings and thoughts as you were launching into the space, up to the space station.
Honestly, sometimes we weren't even sure that it was real, but it was just an incredible experience. The Falcon 9 is an awesome ride.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Okay, that last part was a side note, but we'll be talking about that. Thank you, Thomas, and Awake and in the Light. Thomas, that's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think it'll ever carry a Dragon capsule up. He has his Starship going to carry the Dragon capsule up. Thank you, Tony. Coffee House Theology. So let me show you something. This is Mark Vande Hei, okay? And he's been on the space station, I don't remember how long, maybe it's been a year or 6 months or something like that. Actually, we could probably learn right here. Let's see. NASA has assigned him to an upcoming mission. Let's see. Launch Friday, April 9th. So he's been up there since April 9th or whatever. And he's due to come down on the next Soyuz. It says right here, actually. I'll keep reading. Vande Hei, along with cosmonauts, those guys, of the Russian space agency Roscosmos, are scheduled to launch Friday on the Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft from Kazakhstan. Okay? So then they launched on a Russian rocket, right? It's just interesting stuff because of what the sanctions, like Russia's like, you know, they're going to try to get back at us or whatever, or because of the sanctions, I guess. I don't know. And so I don't know if you guys are aware of the drama going on between the head of the Russian space program and people like NASA, Scott Kelly. I don't know if you guys remember who Scott Kelly is. Let's see here. So I have some interesting stuff to show you. I don't remember how to say the guy's name, the head of the Russian space program or whatever. He's kind of a testy guy. He's like pretty they're like Twitter wars going back. He's calling people morons and deluded, and he's saying Joe Biden had dementia. Pretty nice. But so there's cosmonauts on the space station right now, and Mark Vande Hei. Let's see if we can find it right here. Let's see if it says. I'm just trying to find what if it says when they were supposed to come back, but maybe it doesn't. Anyway, it's coming up, and so let me get you a different screen. I don't want to get in trouble, so I'll play the video or this video. It's only like a minute or something, or maybe 2 minutes, but I don't want to have you on that screen, so I'm going to put this screen on there. It is what it is. It's a video that maybe we'll watch this video later too. But let's see. Maybe I'll just do this to help. There. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to play that video right now. We'll probably get an ad. Who knows?
Dangerous standoff in space. Russia is making new threats regarding the safety of an American astronaut on the International Space Station in response to crippling U.S. sanctions. Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez has the story. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George, good morning. Yeah, this relationship between Americans and Russians in space has always been seen as life or death. Now that relationship is in question, and right here this morning, one legendary astronaut is now sounding off. This morning, the International Space Station in political crosshairs as Russia retaliates against American sanctions. The head of the Russian Space Agency, Dmitry Rogozin, posting this video on social media threatening to abandon American astronaut Mark Vande Hei at the station. He's supposed to return home on a Russian ship in just 3 weeks.
I never thought I would ever hear anything so outrageous.
Former NASA astronaut Scott Kelly heard enough after Rogozin tweeted another video of technicians covering up the U.S. and Japanese flags on a rocket. Kelly fired back. Without those flags and the foreign exchange they bring in, your space program won't be worth a damn. Maybe you can find a job at McDonald's, if McDonald's still exists in Russia. Rogozin responding by calling Kelly a moron with dementia.
This is my first ever, real engagement with someone in that kind of a negative way.
And it happens to be the head of the Russian space program.
Yeah, big deal. Head of the Russian space program.
Rogozin also making an ominous threat that without Russian help to move the ISS away from space junk, the ISS would crash into America or other countries. What do you think about that?
I think it's just a crazy threat. It's not really based in reality. So we do have the ability to control the orbit of the space station independent from the Russian Space Agency. So I don't see that happening.
Earlier this week, after halting sales of a Russian-made engine used by the American Atlas rockets, Rogozin said the U.S. would need broomsticks to get to space. Overnight, SpaceX firing back as it launched its Falcon rocket carrying satellites to orbit.
Time to let the American broomstick fly and hear the sounds of freedom. LD is go for launch.
Falcon 9,
Meanwhile, ULA, the maker of that Atlas rocket, says it already has enough Russian engines stored away in Alabama and that rocket is being retired anyway. George.
But what happens if Russia actually follows through on this and doesn't let Vande Hei board the Soyuz at the end of the month?
So look, NASA is being very quiet about this, George, but here's what we know. NASA always has a backup plan to the backup plan, and in this case, Vande Hei would probably stay on the ISS a little bit longer and then just hitch a ride on the next SpaceX Crew Dragon.
Okay, Gio Benitez, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephan.
Okay, so he'll just try hitch a ride on the Dragon. Right? Effed up worldies. That's funny. So, a dragon. Oh, there's another thing I was going to show you. Did I make a video of that? I did. I must have. Or I downloaded it. Let's see if we can find it here. Let me do this. Oops, I got you zoomed in. Okay, let's do this real quick. Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about was... I can close this and this and this. Okay, and this too. We already looked at that. And we looked at that. Okay. Something interesting in Daniel 7. This kind of goes along with this whole thing that I want to kind of talk about. Is this stuff happening, you know, I don't know what the outcome of this kind of thing happening is, but there's someone that already is popping their head up, being a savior to Ukraine, right? So communication, like how we're communicating right now, is a main source of you know, how we get our information about everything in the world. What would happen if in 15 seconds the internet, you know, I'm not saying that I think this would happen, but just try to, you know, imagine yourself in the situation that the internet goes out and there's no getting it back. Like, if that happened, you wouldn't hear from me anymore, would you? And I wouldn't hear from you guys anymore, would I? I mean, I got David Beverly's phone number, and I've got Tony's phone number and Thomas's phone number, and we text and stuff. We would talk, but what if that didn't work? What if the cell phone didn't work anymore? Just think, what would you do? You know, would you just, you know, shrug your shoulders and be like, well, time to start a new way, right? But then we're like, what if the sun all of a sudden stopped shining one day, or almost stopped shining? Then what? Is it still just normal life, you know? I watched a sad video today, Creaky Blinder. I don't know if you guys are aware of who that is, but he's just like an anti-flat earth guy. And he's kind of quirky, funny, or sort of in his own weird way. But he was basically bashing the idea of God. Believing in a God. Like, really hardcore. And I'm like, or his video was, is there a way to prove that God wrote the Bible? I think it was something like that. And I commented on there. I said, you probably can't prove that God wrote the Bible, but he can prove to you that he did. Like, because that's the only way that you'd have to believe in it, or you'd have to, like, understand. You'd have to basically, I don't know if people have that in them or they just don't. I don't get it. I don't know how someone can look at this world we live in and everything, the complexity of life, of living a life, and the responsibility of it, and the hard work of it, and everything that comes with it. I don't know how someone can look at that and say that that's not designed to be that way, to be a life. I mean, we're born and then we die. Like, this is something that a higher power has set up with the sun and moon and stars in the sky that we literally use as a time clock all throughout time. Everyone has been forced to use it as a time clock. You know, there's night shift guys. One of my friends works like at whatever shift, but he works late at night. And so his hours are all different than everyone else's hours. But I'll tell you what, he notices that. I notice that, you know, day and night is something that we become in tune with it. Or maybe that's just, you know, maybe we have to be in a certain way, or, you know, whatever. But they have 16 sunrises and sunsets on the space station, guys. Ooh, aren't you? What a thing to do. Oh, my word. I wish we could do that. I'm just kidding. Like, to go outside of what God created for us, I'm learning that that's just crazy. And what it is we've been born into a time where men had wings. Men had wings long before we were born. There was wars where they were fighting with planes before we were born. But it's still only 120 years men have been flying around in airplanes. I mean, maybe like way back in the day, like the Tower of Babel, maybe there was other things. Who knows? But as far as like in the last couple thousand years anyway, you know. So check this out. I always love this chapter, Daniel 7, and you guys, if you go to my channel, or if you come to my channel, you might know that. But Daniel 7 verse 2, I was looking at these Hebrew words that make up the verse. And the reason why I was looking at it was because, I'll just go back a page and it should bring us to, okay, yeah. I looked at this in the King James Version, Daniel 7 verse 2, and it says, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, and this caught my attention, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And when I looked at that, I said strove. I wonder what that is. I wonder what that means, that they interpreted or that they whatever translated into strove. You know, I didn't ever understand this verse this way until today. Okay, the four winds of the heaven. I've gained a better understanding of what those are from the book of Enoch. And the book of Revelation talks about the winds. But the four winds of heaven, well, if we were to, I probably won't take the time right now, but if we look in Enoch chapter 18, I don't remember which verse, probably 3 or 4, it says that the winds of heaven, Enoch says, I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and the stars to their setting, or some. That's pretty close to what it is. So the four winds of heaven, they're turning, and then this says strove upon the great sea, and I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking of the waters above, because the four winds of heaven are the ones that move the sun, moon, and stars. Let's go look at it, because I don't want to. I want you guys to know why this seems to be important to me. I want you guys to know why, because it's not something that you have to reach for or anything. It's right here, and I just want to show you how I am understanding this. That's all. Okay, yeah, right here, verse 4. So this is where for some context, this Enoch says, I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. And so he's talking about the winds. And he says, I saw the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. So they're the foundations of the earth, apparently. It might sound strange, but that's what this word means, to support, to hold up. The word bear. But so he says, I guess I'll just keep reading this because it's good. So the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven, and I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven, like the firmament. That's what I would say that is, like all the firmament, the whole firmament, or whatever you want to, however you want to put it to words. But the vaults, that's what I think that means. Vaults of heaven. And have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. Okay, so it didn't say moon, I added that. But the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. So that's like the waters above. That's what I would say. Thank you, Intellectual Catch Up. That's a great name. It says, great topic. I will be rewatching this another day. So the winds that of heaven, because look, this is talking about different winds, the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven, like they hold it up. But then he's says he saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven, have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. And then he's continuing on. He says, I saw the winds of heaven which turn. So there's like winds, the four winds on the earth, which I think are mentioned in Revelation 7. Maybe we should look at that just because that's what releases destruction. Like it's given to those angels holding the four winds. It's given to them to hurt the earth. Oops, sorry, I can't multitask. Whoops, Bible Hub. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth. So they're standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So this angel was talking to those four angels, and it says right there that it was given to them to hurt the earth and the sea. And then he tells them not to do it until we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees. So the winds of the earth. But then when we were in Enoch, it's talking about, I saw the winds of heaven, which turn, just like we see when we look up, like when someone does star trails with their camera. The whole sky is turning in a circle. And that it's just what we see. So it is turning. The winds of heaven. Maybe, who knows what that it really means. I really don't know. But I know that there's waters above, and I think, I don't know. It's interesting. But that's what brings the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. See how they're separated out? I saw the winds of heaven, and then he says, I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth. Oh, maybe I read that wrong. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. Wow. So that's what I think this is talking about. It's talking about like the waters above, or the great sea hanging. I think in the Testament of Levi, maybe there was a great sea hanging. And I mean, when we look at the moon, that's what it looks like. I don't know, to me. But apparently, if you go 17,000 miles an hour sideways, it's a vacuum. Apparently. Yeah, they're not going up in the sky. They're not going to heaven at all. They're going sideways. And they're actually going down, because when they get out of the earth, they go sideways, and just like these astronauts, which I will play again right now, because listen to what this girl says. I don't understand why so many people that go up to the space station, they say, I don't even know if it's real. Oops, I got it.
Your feelings and thoughts as you were launching into the space, up to the space station?
Honestly, sometimes we weren't even sure that it was real. Honestly, sometimes we weren't even sure that it was real. Honestly, sometimes we weren't even sure that it was real.
Why would you say that? Maybe it's not real. Maybe that's why the astronauts coming back from Apollo 11, those heroes, maybe that's why they look so depressed on that press conference, you know? Maybe they realized we've just been tricked. But they don't know that. The whole world believes it. So, I'm just saying, put yourself in their shoes. If they experienced something like she said.
We weren't even sure that it was real. But it was.
When someone talks like that, she wouldn't have said that if she didn't actually think that. Look at the way she looks over at him when she says it. She's like maybe embarrassed to say it or something.
Sometimes we weren't even sure that it was real, but
They're talking about the launch. To go to space. That's what they're talking about. Just think about that. I like what Thomas Morgan just wrote in the chat. Sideways to the pit. Jesus said no man has ascended into heaven. They go sideways, guys. And then when they go sideways at those super fast speeds, they fall perpetually. They found a place. I swear it's the key to the bottomless pit. Apollo, was, well, he's the angel of the bottomless pit, right? Apollyon? Abaddon? Apollyon? Apollo 11 was the first time they ever went into that darkness. And they had to figure it out, and they just figured it out. Think about it. For me, Jenna Loves Flat Earth says, wonder who they really are. You know who they are? Is fallen angels. And one of the biggest influences of all humanity since the fourth day of creation, I'm just saying that on the fourth day of creation, everything went good. But then when the stars were supposed to come out, there was 7 of them that didn't show up where they were supposed to, or when they were supposed to. They didn't come out at their appointed time. That's what Enoch said. So those 7, they were bound. Well, actually, that's where Jude talks about wandering stars. The book of Jude, verse 13, says that the wandering stars are reserved until judgment in the blackness of darkness. And my understanding, that's in the same chapter of Enoch. Wow. Let's go look at that. Same chapter. This is really clear to me. So he's seeing all these things, all the winds, and then right after that, he sees a few other interesting things. He's talking about the end of the great earth where the heavens were completed. Right there, and he says, in verse 11, he says, and I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth. That's like an immeasurable place. You wouldn't be able to measure how high or how low it was. And it was an abyss, he said. Okay, and beyond that abyss, so I'm guessing like to the side of it somewhere. Beyond that abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times, and he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. So they're bound in outer darkness, wandering stars. Let me show you one other interesting thing. If we look at the book of Jude, let me just show you something about just the word planets. Just the word planets, it implies not what you'd think. Let's see. Verse 13 says, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Look at that. It's talking about the sea too. Foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Okay. I guess I said it was until judgment, but it said forever. So now let's look at that verse in, whoops, my computer's acting up a little slow here. There we go. Let's look at this word. for wandering stars. Whoops, I gotta hit the verse, sorry. Waves of the sea foaming out their shame, stars wandering. This word right here. Planetes. A wanderer. Okay, this is where Jude was saying. He was saying a wanderer. Now look at this. Planetes is a masculine noun derived from 4105. Planeo, to wander, right? Properly a wandering star. Figuratively a false teacher, operating without moral compass and exploiting other aimless people, prompting them also stray from God's circle of safety, sound doctrine. Let's look at this word, though, that it comes from, planeo, because this word gives a lot away. To cause to wander. Planeo, 4105. Lead astray, deceive, cause to wander. Look down here. Deceive, deceived, deceives, deceiving, go astray, gone astray, leads astray, led astray, misguided, misled, misleads, misled, or mislead, misled, mistaken, straying, strays, wandering. How's that? How's that sound? That's what planets are. So the reason why I wanted to show you this was because look at what it says right here. In Helps Word Studies, 4105 planeo, oops, it's down where my cursor is the root of the English term planet. So when we say planet, we're talking about, what are we talking about? Let's go back to the Book of Enoch. What are we talking about when we're talking about planets? This is what the angel said. This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So there's 7 stars in there, in that prison, okay? When we look up at the night sky, we can see that prison. That is that's what I understand about this. And it's in darkness. So, where does NASA go? They go to a prison. Because Apollo gave them a key to a bottomless pit. And they think they're going up to heaven. They think that's where the future is. Let me show you. The reason why this video is titled whatever it's titled, a dangerous analogy to make, I think is what it was, is because of this right here. Just think about what we've been talking about. Oh, and I kind of want to play one other video. It's 7 minutes long though, and I'd rather play it after this video I want to play here with the quote of the title in it, because this is only 38 seconds or something. But I want to stress like there's this big conflict happening in our world, and it's very complex. Check this out.
And there's also, from a long-term basis, if we're a multi-planet species, it's like life insurance for life itself, not just for humans, but for all the creatures on Earth, because we bring them with us, and they can't build spaceships, so we're in effect the steward of life, and we can make Mars like another planet with life on it.
So he's talking about going to Mars, and that's why the thumbnail of this video, that's some of those starships that they're building to go to Mars. And listen to what he says here.
It is, it's probably a dangerous analogy to use, but it's a bit like Noah's Ark, but we bring more than two of every creature.
A bit like Noah's Ark. This guy, I'm not trolling him. I'm saying that this guy, I've read about this guy. Want to read about him? The 4 winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. Look at what the Okay, let's go back. Look at what this says in the Hebrew words. Spoke Daniel, and saying, I was looking, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, 4 winds of the heaven were stirring up the great sea. We're stirring up the great sea. Check this out real quick. This won't be the 7-minute video. This is just a short little minute here. Do you guys know that Elon Musk is the guy that owns that dragon right there? Yeah. So this is a really weird subject. I don't know where to go. So, see, this is the Russian Soyuz right here. And this is like an older video of it, but there's 3 astronauts that sit inside of there, okay? We're going to need to know that because we're going to study like kind of specific words that Daniel uses to describe what he saw in his vision. Because it's kind of eye-opening to how accurate the scriptures are, really. The Word of God. Like it tells you things before, or that it couldn't tell you if it didn't know. Like, someone's outside of time writing these things. That's what I'm saying. Someone is outside of time. They see it all as one picture. And see these astronauts? See how they're packed in there like sardines? That's the Russian Soyuz. And that's how, for 9 years, I paused it because that was bugging me. For 9 years, NASA had to ride on a Russian Soyuz. Up until just, a year and a half ago or whatever, when SpaceX Dragon started to fly astronauts. Okay? Let me show you something. If I can find it. Okay, this is the 7-minute video. It's about the stars. And what I want to do is, there's 2 ways to look at the stars, and they're both in this 7-minute video. I explain like what the university would have you believe. And then I explain, just by reading a few verses and stuff, I explain what the scriptures say is happening in the stars versus what the universities. Okay, and so I want to make sure that you understand that there's a conflict happening in our minds. Like if we can believe 2 things that oppose each other just by not really noticing that they oppose each other or something. So there's something happening in the sky that is happening in our minds too. It's like what we believe. And it's about, I would call it something like heaven versus space. Like, the scriptures have an idea of what heaven is, and they tell it very, I guess, hard to understand, but at the same time, so clearly different than what we were taught in the world at schools or whatever, that that's almost interesting enough to believe it. But then when you start to believe it, you start to, I guess you see the world differently. You see everything differently than you used to. So, let's see here. Jenna Loves Flat Earth says, is that word okay? Did I say a bad word? I hope it's okay. Or are you talking about saying planet or something? I'm just checking it out here. And then that's another interesting thing about this guy that we were just listening to, talking about, comparing what he's doing to Noah's Ark, or what he wants to do to Noah's Ark. That's creepy. But anyway, it is a dangerous analogy to use, Elon. That's what I would say. That would be my take on that. So then let's look at Daniel. I just want to show you guys something really interesting. I think that Daniel, so the winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea for whatever reason. Okay. Let me go back to like the text in Daniel 7. We're just going to read this. We'll go to the KJV really quick. I just want to explain how I see a very clear story happening in here that is happening in our world today and like over the last 10 years even, or even more than that. Do you guys remember back in 2011 when, for whatever reason, you guys remember the shuttle, the 2 accidents that the shuttle had, the Challenger and what was the other one? I can't think of it right now. The Challenger blew up on launch and the other one disintegrated as it was trying to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. Okay. You guys remember that? Well, for that reason, and also it was so expensive and whatever, they didn't get funding to continue it, and they retired the program. Right? 2011. I think everyone remembers that. The shuttle being flown all around the U.S. on the back of an airplane so people could look at it, you know. That was 2011. So then we find ourselves 9 years later, so it was 2020, and we saw that for those 9 years, we had to rely on Russia, okay? So for those 9 years, it was this. 3 at a time on a monster Russian rocket. They'd have to go to Russia. Actually, that Mark Vanda High, let me open that a page again. Now I can't remember how to spell his name. Let's see here. We'll go to a different page, but... Or wait, let me see if I can just open the one that I just closed. Yeah, there we go. Let me bring you over to the desktop again. Okay. Remember this. We already looked at this page. This was about his launch, okay? Vanda High, along with cosmonauts, those dudes of Russian Space Agency, are scheduled to launch Friday on the Soyuz MS-18 spacecraft from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Okay? Russia. They all had to go from Russia. I actually have a video. I don't know if I'd be able to find it, but they all have to go from Russia. And I have people talking about the space station, or people on the space station talking about how all the astronauts ride on a Russian Soyuz. Because that's what it was for almost 10 years. And that's in this story, guys. Okay, let's just look at these. So basically, we're just going to look at 4 beasts that Daniel saw in a vision. And this vision was told to him that it was of the time of the end. And there was this dominion, and there was a beast that had dominion of the host of heaven. Okay, that's what this is talking about, because this is a long vision. And actually, I'll probably play a video where I just read it out. But what I wanted to point out was these 4 beasts, okay? Here's the way I'm looking at it. The space station was something that was built first with the space shuttle. And then the Russian Soyuz was the main vehicle for it for the last 10 years or 9 years, during that time. So then after that would be the SpaceX Dragon, right? Because that's what's been giving all of the supplies and all of the cargo and experiments and whatever. They've launched many times up to the space station with the Dragon capsule to bring things up there and to bring things back down. Okay, a Dragon. capsule. So then just in 2020 or whatever, they had finally made a Dragon that could take astronauts. 7 astronauts, by the way. And so they've been flying astronauts on that. So like this whole thing with Russia, they're like, whatever, we got our own way to get there again. Haha. But that's what I'm talking about, this Mark Vande Hei guy. He might not have a ride back because they might say, no, you can't ride on the Soyuz. And they might just leave him up there. I mean, and yeah, I'm sure NASA's got a plan and whatever. But these kinds of things are crazy things. Isn't it something like where, I don't remember which verse or where it is, but it says something like when peace, they thought they had peace or something and sudden destruction came upon them. Just think about it. I mean, like, a lot of things are being jeopardized. I'm not talking about just the space station. I'm saying the whole wars happening. That's crazy stuff. But so he sees these 4 beasts, and the way I'm seeing this is that these 4 beasts sound like it sounds like the story of the space station being made and maintained or whatever, and just the space station. That's what it sounds like. But I'll kind of show you what I mean here. Okay, so we're starting. You guys, these beasts came up from that sea. So the 4 winds of heaven were what did it say in the other? Anyway, it strove upon the great sea. And the 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Okay, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. Okay, just pay attention to what this is saying. I think it's quite important to, like, every word. I'm going to read. So the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth. What does that mean, guys? To be lifted up from the earth. Okay. And it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Have you guys just thinking about the space shuttle? You know, I don't know what a lion means, or first was like a lion. I don't know what that means. I don't know what all of this means. I just think it means something. Had eagle's wings. Maybe that's, well, the shuttle had wings. That was one of the big problems with the shuttle, is that it had wings. That was like, well, yeah, it had wings. But they were plucked. It was retired in 2011. It had its wings taken away. Just think about it. Like if you were a pilot and you had your wings taken away, that mean you wouldn't fly anymore? Yeah, that's what happened to the shuttle program. So they did like, I don't know how many, 134 or something launches with the different space shuttles that they made. And then it was it. That's it. And they had, they have astronauts. Of course, they probably worked something out with Russia before they retired the space shuttle. But so that was the only way to go up there, was on a Russian Soyuz. Like once they got it built, or primarily built or whatever, in 2011, then we went all the way 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and part of 2020 or whatever, only riding on Russian Soyuz. Okay? So this first one had eagle's wings, and he says the wings were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth. I mean, that's an important thing. Daniel said this is something he's seeing in a vision. And like, I'm thinking Daniel's like hanging out watching YouTube videos, watching these space shuttle launches and STS, all these STS missions. And there's this space station up there. Well, it's really clear after a minute, I think. And the best part about it is the Son of God is one of the next parts of the story, like one of the very next parts of the story. Changes everything. And it's eternal what he does. It lasts forever. Put a smile on your face when you think of that. You know, like this truth that's leaking into our lives somehow. It's coming from above. It's coming from God. So, and the world hates it. They do. But just remember, you'll be hated for his name's sake. It's not because of you or something. It's because you speak the truth in a world that's believing lies. Anyway, I got off on a side note there. So it was lifted up from the earth, made stand upon the feet as a man. Just think about that. That's like how the shuttle had to launch. It was like standing up. Like on whatever you'd call it, on the back of it or whatever. It was standing up and had those big orange booster thing. Those solid rocket boosters. Anyway. So listen to the second though. Okay. Verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Arise. What does that mean, to arise? What is... Let me show you what... I mean, it seems like... I don't know what ribs are. It had 3 ribs in the mouth of it. But it sure reminds me of this. 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, telling it to arise. Like they're piloting the thing. Think about it. Remember, Daniel would have wrote this like 4,000 years ago. There was no such thing as a rocket or an astronaut. Like, for him. He was just seeing something. Have you guys ever seen how the Soyuz, I don't have a video of that, but they take the Soyuz out on this train. Let me see if I can find something. I want to find just a video. I know I gotta have it here somewhere. It's always if the thumbnail is the right thumbnail, then I can tell. But, because I want you guys to just see some, like some pictures of some of these things. Because it goes out there on this, I think I found it. The Soyuz goes out there on this train out to the launch pad, and then it's tipped up on its side. And so we'll come back to the verse in a second. Let me show you this.
How did I get up?
Oh, yeah.
I think you asked how did I get up to the ISS and how long do I spend? And I came up here just like all the crew members since the space shuttle retired in 2011.
The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
Since the space shuttle retired in 2011.
And it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given to it.
We all fly on the Russian Soyuz rocket and Soyuz spacecraft.
And behold another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side.
We all fly on the Russian Soyuz rocket and Soyuz spacecraft.
Like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
Since the end of the shuttle program, the only ride to the station has been on the Russian Soyuz. But by working with SpaceX and Boeing, there's soon going to be a new fleet of spacecraft capable of bringing humans to low Earth orbit. And of course, all of this supports the mission of the International Space Station, humanity's premier laboratory in space.
Maybe that helped a little bit. Do you guys get what I'm saying there with those? It's like a bear. I don't know. I've heard Russia's like a bear, or like I've heard that before. But he's describing what he's seeing. I saw in my vision by night. And he's talking about the 4 winds of heaven stirring up the great sea, like the waters above. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. And then that reminds me of something else. Think of, sorry, I thought you were on desktop with me. Think of, where I just lost where I was going with that last part. So, they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Now check out this one. Verse 6. After this, I beheld. That means I watched, I looked, I saw. That's what it means. And lo, another, like another beast, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. Wings, guys. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Dominion was given to it. What dominion is this talking about? Look, in verse 12, it says, as concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. This dominion is talked about in this whole chapter in Daniel 7. And this dominion, I want to play the video. Because the video, not the one we were just watching. I have to go find one. It's just Daniel 7. I'll just read this whole chapter. But now, like, dominion, this is talking about the dominion of the host of heaven, the sky, the heavens. And I don't know if that has something to do with a new heaven and a new earth, maybe. But someone comes and Daniel describes who it is. And it's the Ancient of Days. He describes him. And he comes and sits like on a judgment seat or something. Or on a throne or whatever. And then one like unto the Son of Man, I think is how it goes. I'm gonna find this video. Sorry. Like I said, I don't multitask anything very good. I think this was the video I had a hard time finding. So that means it was in a weird place. Where did I put it? Daniel 7. I could try to search for it, but probably wouldn't work. Let me see here. I think I know where it might be. Sorry, guys. But this vision, he sees these beasts, and then he sees what happens, and they basically get their whole program that they have. It explains that they took it through sin or through transgression, is how they got that dominion, and it was the saints of the Most High that took that dominion away. Right here, it's where is that? Well, we'll find that. I can't believe I can't find it. I thought for sure it would be here. Sorry guys, I'm terrible. I didn't actually plan on playing that, but I really want to. Tell you what, I'll bet you we can just do it quicker if I go to my YouTube. Let me hit cancel on that, and we'll go to my YouTube. Close these ones that I don't need. Let's see here. I should be able to find it right away. Welcome everyone. Good to see you guys. Man, I lost a lot of subscribers today, like 5. Let's see here. Or I think I named it Just Listen or something like that. We'll find it here. Daniel had a dream. Just listen. Okay, you guys will love this. I'll go for full screen, and then here we go. Daniel 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, And it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured, and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there, did you guys hear that? So I want to put some reality to this, the way I see it anyway. I'm thinking of Acts chapter 1, when the men of Galilee, they were standing there gazing up into heaven because they just watched Jesus ascend into heaven, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So he went into the clouds, and then they couldn't see him no more. However that looked, I don't know if I would even believe my eyes, but that's what I believe happened. And those two angels, or whoever they were, 2 men, or 2 standing in white, they said to those men of Galilee, they're like, "Ye men of Galilee, why do you stand here gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, who you've seen taken up into heaven, will come back in like manner." He's going to come back the same way. He's going to come out of the clouds. Now, so that's why I was pointing this out. Listen, this in this vision, this is what Daniel's seeing. So remember that these beasts had their dominion taken away, but their lives were prolonged. But one of the beasts, it talks about, and I think it was talking about the one that had dominion, the one that had the 4 wings like a fowl. I think it's talking about the space station, but let's go back a little bit and just, it talks about it being, the beast was slain. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Okay, to me that seems like the beast that was slain that it's talking about, I think is talking about the one where it said in Daniel 7, it was verse 6, and it said, it was the 3rd one he saw, and it said it had dominion, or it was given dominion. whatever, it had dominion, and I think that's the one it's talking about here, that was slain and given to the burning flame. Well, if the ISS was to deorbit, it would just burn up. It would be a big fire going across the sky, a huge fire. Like as it tried to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere, it wouldn't last. It wouldn't make it. It would burn up. But I mean, there might be parts of it that would hit the ground, but it would be it would be fatal for anybody on it for sure. But I think that's what this is talking about. We'll listen to it quick one more time and then we'll just continue on. Because it's, listen to what happens when the Son of Man comes. He's flying with the clouds of heaven. Yeah, it's just awesome story because I can see it. It seems like it's going to happen soon. Him and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
10, 9,
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
1.
Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart.
And there's also, from a long-term basis, if we're a multi-planet species, it's like life insurance for life itself, not just for humans, but for all the creatures on Earth, because we bring them with us, and they can't build spaceships, so we're in effect, the steward of life. And we can make Mars like another planet with life on it. It is, it's probably a dangerous analogy to use, but it's a bit like Noah's Ark. But
Okay, so he shall speak great words against the Most High and wear out the saints of the Most High. Careful, people. Let's listen to a little bit more of what Elon thinks about the Most High.
But we bring more than two of every creature. And I was like, oh, it all means nothing. It's all, and I read like a whole bunch of religious books, including the Bible, and I'm like, there's a bunch of things in there they didn't teach you in Sunday school. Sodom and Gomorrah, dark. Yikes. God sure changes his mind from the Old Testament to the New Testament. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty vengeful in the Old Testament. What was the question?
I mean, we're here. The Babylon Bee is a Christian organization, and we're a ministry.
Well, how come we're doing the show on a Sunday?
Why aren't you heathens in church? Exactly. So we have to make it church right now.
This is supposed to be a day of rest.
We did Zoom church.
To justify...
Like God said, don't work on Sundays. Okay? Guys are going straight to hell for this one.
Get into the whole Jesus rest thing. Okay.
Straight to hell.
This is church. So to make this church, we have to make sure. We're wondering if you could do us a quick solid and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
On the show.
Personal Lord and Savior. It's a quick prayer.
I mean, let's just say, I agree with the principles that Jesus advocated, and there's great wisdom in the teachings of Jesus, and I agree with those teachings. And things like turn the other cheek are very important, because as opposed to an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye leaves everyone blind. So forgiveness, is important, and treating people as you would wish to be treated. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Very important.
So it's like a 60-70%. Yes.
As Einstein would say, I believe in the God of Spinoza. But hey, if Jesus is saving people, I mean, I wouldn't stand in his way. I'll be sure, I'll be saved. Why not?
Sweet, we did it.
Yeah.
I think he just said yes.
We got him. All right, we got him.
We got him. To be saved. Sounds good.
You want to get baptized or anything real quick?
I was baptized.
Oh, okay.
Anglican.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's done.
They dunked me in the water when I was just a baby.
Cool.
This is like
second.
Yeah. I even had the blood and body of Christ, which was kind of weird. If you're a little kid, you get to give you some weird tasting, biscuit and wine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, isn't this kind of
just cut it off when he said yes?
I'm like, is this some fading weird metaphor for cannibalism or something? I don't get it. What the hell? I remember thinking that was just crazy when I was a kid. And I'm like, whoa, I mean, even as a metaphor, it's kind of odd,
Yeah,
so it is. It's like, and should it be giving alcohol to minors? I was like,
we do grape juice. We're Baptists.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's unusual to even be thinking about that as a kid. As a kid, you just go through the motions, and then it's later on that you think, wait a minute, what does this actually represent? What am I doing?
No, when I was a kid, I was like, is this actually blood and body? What?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to eat somebody. And then it's like, what? This is, I ended up did it anyway. I'm like, this seems like, okay, man, I don't know if this is just pretty odd, I remember thinking that even at age 5. So I was like, and I was definitely at Sunday school there, when they were telling me all the stories, and I was asking questions, and they really were upset that I was asking questions. And I was like, you know, how Jesus like fed the crowd with like 5 loaves of bread and 3 fish, and I'm like, how big was the crowd? And like, where did the fish and bread come from? Did like from his cloak or something? Like, because I was like reading books, and I was like, is this like, did it materialize? Is it kind of like, I don't know, where did it come from? You know, like.
Do you guys hear that? Do you hear what the problem here, or the difference, I should say, is? I like your comments in the chat, by the way. I pretty much agree with what Nimrod Paul says. I don't think that this is almost just a mockery that the Babylon Bee is doing here. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do, but they are kind of like they're bunch of jokers at the same time that they call themselves a Christian organization or whatever. But I just want, there's 1 minute and 15 more seconds, or maybe like 1 minute more of Elon talking, and listen to, I mean, what I want you to realize is that this guy, first of all, like, he's given internet to Ukraine, you know, because Russia, like, I don't know if they were a main source of their internet, or I don't know how it works, but there was very little internet in Ukraine for a while, and now Elon Musk, with his satellites, his Starlink satellites, just think about that. Listen to this too.
Like, how did it, would you like take a bite of the bread and would the bread would just come back to being a full bread?
Yeah, you look away and it's
This is
kind
the
of pops
mechanics of
back
it.
out, Rubbermaid.
They left out the details.
Where did the universe come from?
Okay, so if you didn't hear, what one of the Babylon Bee guys asked him, where did the universe come from?
Well, yeah, I'm not saying I know all the answers here. I'm just, you know, it's just, and like, Jesus was obviously very pro-alcohol, you know, because one of his miracles was turning water into wine. Yeah. And then it was like, they were having a party, they ran out of wine, okay, and they're like, let's keep this bender going. Good stuff. Who can solve this problem?
We're out of White Claws.
The friggin' store's closed. And Jesus is like, I gotcha. Okay, water, now wine. And they're like, party on, you know. So, you know,
accurate.
Pro-partying with alcohol is literally one of the miracles.
Bible story time with
But
Elon Musk.
you're the, it's like you're the savior. You kept the party going with lots of wine. That's great.
He apparently didn't get to know Jesus. You know, I'm not the guy to decide that, but by the way he talks, he doesn't believe at all that Jesus made the universe, quote unquote. So just something for people who, by the way, Zilver Rocha says, didn't SpaceX launch more satellites this week? Yes, I think not yesterday morning, but the morning before that. They launched another 48 or whatever satellites. I don't know how many. Before that, they had 2,091 Starlink satellites up there. Tuesday morning, 48 Starlinks. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas lives in Florida, and he keeps a close eye on what SpaceX launches and whatnot. Which, thank you for doing that too, Thomas. You know what I want? You know what, Thomas? If you ever know about a landing that you'd be able to get in view of and get a video of, I think that I don't remember where it was. I was watching. I think it was David Weiss. Or I was listening to something, and it might have been an older interview they did or whatever. It was David Weiss and Jaron Campanella. And I think whoever was doing the interview was someone actually that had a job at NASA, and the other person that they were talking to had a job at SpaceX. But but they were being neutral on the show, like they were just asking questions about the flat Earth thing or whatever. And it was very interesting. And one of them said, well, I think this, and I might be wrong, this might have been on another show that I saw, I'm not sure, but I think whatever show, it was recent, that I think Jaron put it on his channel recently, but on Jaronism, which I think he's live right now. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Now everybody's going to go. No, I'm just kidding. He's like, he's very, different on his thinking about the Bible, but I still think that there's, some things that someone that sees the truth like he does, you know, like I'm just talking about flat Earth or whatever. Someone that sees that the way he does, I think it's only a matter of time before he realizes that it is straight from God. It's actually, and that's what I think when Jesus said this, he said it a couple times, but he said, I've told you this, or I told you now so that when it comes to pass, you will believe. Okay. So what I'm saying about, you know, like, I mean, Jaron's, I don't mind saying it because I'm not like accusing him. I'm just saying he's very vocal about not believing that the Bible is, you know, what I hold it to be anyway myself, but, that it's not valid, or that it's, that it's not what it claims to be. But, I just think that, I just pray that that he will be one of those people Jesus was talking to. Said, I told you this now, and it's written down. That was another comment I saw in the chat that I wanted to comment on. Someone said, it was Buzzin23 says, all I have to do is ask Jesus into my life, and he will guide me in the right direction. Question mark or exclamation question mark. I got to know Jesus, and he came into my life when I was reading the Bible. When I was reading the book of John and the book of Revelation, and all over the Bible, just places, that's where he grabbed a hold of me and showed me that, oh, look at this. This is true. Look at this. And I there's no way to describe how you get shown things in some old book that man wrote, right? That everybody calls the Bible. Everyone says it's an old book that man wrote. You know what? That book we just went over. I mean, it takes a while to go over those beasts and stuff to explain what I'm seeing there, but that just seems to be a story about what is, you know, what we're watching happen on this front, and what I'm looking at on your screen here. He's in that story. He's in that story, standing in the temple of God, showing himself that he's God. Where's the temple of God? It's in heaven, guys. I know that we're the temple of the Holy Spirit. I know that. I understand that. But God sits in his throne in the sky. I never played that 7-minute video because I just didn't want to, but we're going to watch it now. This is kind of like, for me, this is kind of like what do I believe when I think about the sky, the literal sky above me, the stars and what they are. What do I believe? And I kind of go through what I was taught, and then I kind of go through, I just read some things that'll speak to you the same way they spoke to me, because it's just scripture. It's words of the prophets written down, and they're talking about significant things in 2022, March 11th, right? It's amazing. Check this out. we are taught in school, and it is a belief, and I stress the word belief, that is held by almost the whole world, that the stars are basically the same as the sun, but are at great distances from the earth. We are taught that we are in a solar system in which the sun is attracting other planets by gravity, and therefore they orbit the sun. They circle around the sun. We are taught that the distances of these stars or suns is so great that it needs to be measured in light years, the distance to them. So we are taught that the nearest star system closest to our sun is about 4.22 light years from the Earth, and is the closest star other than the sun, and it's Alpha Centauri A and B. The average distance between them is about 23 astronomical units, a little more than the distance between the sun and Uranus. This is the point of view and teachings of most universities, and it is taught worldwide. And actually everyone that is alive today was taught this cosmology. Now, I have learned in the last few years that there is a completely different understanding, and again, I'll stress the word belief, a different understanding and belief about what the stars are and what they are doing in the night sky. And this new way of understanding is new to me, and is new to most people that are in the world, but it is an understanding that to me makes much more sense, and I actually believe something other than what the universities teach. Okay, that's a theory, and I have to stress that. That is a theory that the universities are teaching about the stars. Okay? Here's Enoch chapter 71. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand, and lifted me up, and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and Ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phanuel, and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael, and Gabriel, and Raphael, and Phanuel, and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. and I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice, with the spirit of power, and blessed, and glorified, and extolled. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might. For that he is strong in power, not one faileth. So, did you see that North Star there? There's kind of an interesting thing that John describes in Revelation. Let me grab a video. It's just a good one. It's, you know, that North Star, I took some footage of it through my telescope. I have it was through a 8-inch Dobsonian reflector. I don't remember, what is it, I can't, Orion, I think it's an Orion. Yeah, it is. But that's funny because I can't ever remember the names of the brand or whatever. I have no idea where this video is gonna be. Oh wait, maybe I do. Anyway, yeah, it's right here. Sweet. John knew the colors. Did he have a telescope back 2,000 years ago? I don't think he did, but he knew the colors of that star, and it seems like he described going to it. Check it out. It's quite interesting. Here we go.
And behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was, as it were, of a trumpet talking with me, which said,
Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter.
And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was, to look upon, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald.
Wow, huh? To me, I'm just like, whoa. I never caught it till I was listening to Revelation, and he said he saw a door open in heaven, and he saw a throne, and said, "Come up hither." Crazy. Then he said it was like a sardine or a jasper and a sardine stone with a rainbow round about like an emerald or something. Whoa! Isn't that what we see on the screen right there? It's crazy. Buzzin23 says, "Wait, what?" So let me explain what this footage of this star is, because I should be more clear when I'm trying to say something. Okay, so this is footage that I took with my camera. I'm gonna pause it just so we can look at it. We'll zoom in a little bit, and you can see that that's kind of the colors of it or whatever. This is Polaris. This is the North Star. And let me show you one other thing. Where the North Star is, I should be able to show you with this little GIF image here. This one right in the center. Oops, I can't zoom in on that, I guess. The one right in the center there, you can kind of see it. It moves slightly, but not very much. but it's the center of all those stars. And that what we're watching right now is a time lapse that took 2.5 hours, I think. And so it's called star trails because the camera, the shutter stays open for a long time or longer time, and it just does a time lapse. But so that's what the stars, that's what they're actually doing in 2.5 hours. They turn like that, and they all circle that center star. So on this video, this is that star, and I zoomed in on it really far. So let's do this. So the reason why this is an easy star to film too with a telescope without any tracking system or anything is because it barely moves at all. And actually you can kind of see up to the top left. I'll try to zoom in on it. Up here in the center of your screen right there, you can kind of see a little white spot. There's a star there, and that little star goes around this star every 24 hours. It goes like that. So, yeah, is that the right way? Yeah, it goes counterclockwise. And you can actually see it, over the night. It'll go like from almost the top to the bottom or whatever. And I think I've filmed that. I've done a time lapse of it. There's a time lapse of it on my channel somewhere. I did it. I filmed it for like 45 minutes one time, I think. But let me go back in this video a ways just to get these verses again. So let's listen to. So this, what we're going to be listening to, is from Revelation, I think, chapter 4, and it's kind of somewhat the beginning of John's vision. It's not the beginning of his vision, but it's the beginning of a part of his vision where he goes up to heaven. So let's see, I'll turn it up, and here we go. I'll watch this again, just so you can kind of get a better idea of what this is. So this is me through my telescope with my camera, and I made this video after I saw it, so.
And behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was, as it were, of a trumpet talking with me, which said,
Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter.
And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was, to look upon, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald.
So to me anyway, it almost just sounds like John totally described that star. And that was what he saw when he went through this door in heaven. Very interesting to me. But just a side note for the idea of the temple of God being in heaven, that right at the beginning of that chapter, it describes that. Well, let's listen to it really quick again. This is in Revelation 4, and this also says that that the God's temple or whatever, I don't remember how it words it, but that it's up in heaven. So
one sat on the throne.
Oh yeah, right there.
Hither, and I will show thee things.
Whoops, I went too far back, or not far enough back. Okay, sorry guys.
And the first voice which I heard was, as it were, of a trumpet talking with me, which said,
Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter.
And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he...
You hear that? A throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne.
That sat was, to look upon, like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald.
Are we actually looking at God's throne? I'm not even kidding when I say that. It just sounds so like that can't be God's throne, can it? Well, John might say something different. He described the colors of it like exactly. And it was after he heard a voice in heaven telling him, "Come up here." And then he described what he saw. And it said the one sitting on the throne was like I think that's what it said, was like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, like unto an emerald. Just think about it. It's like crazy. It's crazy. And there's more things about like the stars too. But do you see the difference in belief? What I'm saying is, some people think that they're going to Mars and that it's like a new Noah's Ark, you know. That's what Elon Musk is pushing anyway, and he's trying to do it. If you look at the thumbnail of this video, they're building those things. They're huge, and they fly them now, and they're waiting for the FAA to approve something or whatever, and then they're gonna do a launch. And as Thomas Morgan feels the same way I do about this, I think, or now we got Tom Morgan and Thomas Morgan. That rocket taking off, that big Starship booster that's got all those Raptor engines, and I'm not trying to get into all the details about rockets, who cares, but it's going to be the loudest thing that's ever flown, I'm sure. And just that when we talk about sound waves or whatever, the just sound, if we think of how the world was created, it was created by the voice of God saying, "Let there be light," and there was light, and this happened. He created all these things. He just commanded reality to happen. And then his voice went out. He made a declaration. He declared it, and it happens. It is happening. That's why I'm saying he's the one that's outside of time, and he is helping us understand many things. Understand what we've been doing wrong. A lot of things that we've been doing wrong our whole lives. And I know a lot of people understand what I mean about that. Lots of things being changed. I was going to show you guys something, though. I think it's going to take a second. I'm going to show you another star that I filmed through that same telescope. This is Arcturus. Isn't that weird? Should I zoom in a little bit? Isn't that crazy? Arcturus. It's like that could be its own throne or something. I'm just saying, stars are not suns. As if you were to ask me, they're not suns. Okay? I think there's a much better explanation of some of the things we see in the sky. And then when we're talking about planets, they're deceivers. They're spirits. They're angelic something. They're alive, is what I'm saying. And they're assuming. Let me show you. Look at, we were in this, learning about that place in chapter 18 of Enoch, learning about that place where they're imprisoned. Well, look at what it says in the next chapter. So remember Genesis 6, right? There was angels that they created giants because they took human wives. They manifested it as men somehow or something like that. And they had wives and had offspring. And the offspring were awful giants and all that. Well, look what it says here. This is chapter 19 of the book of Enoch. And Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the angels." So remember where they were. They were in that prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And he says, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind. Did you see that? Assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. So I just want to make this point, that the same blackness of darkness where everyone would say is hell, because like in 2 Peter 2, I think, God cast them down to hell under chains of darkness. Well, our understanding of cosmology has been wrong for a long time. And the reason why we can know that is because the Bible tells us all about it, and we just couldn't read it before. We couldn't see it before. Remember when Jesus was, where was he? I can't remember the town. Whoops, someone already got it. Thank you, Tom. Luke 24. Let's just go look at that really quick. I know I probably bring this chapter up a lot, but it's pretty interesting. Because let's see here. Whoops. My mouse goes really fast. Whoops. Luke 24. The reason why I bring this up is because, well, for several different reasons, actually. So, here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. So there's these angels, and they were cast down to hell. And there was these stars that didn't obey God's commanded or ordained courses or order or whatever, and they didn't come out at their appointed time. And it said that, this was in chapter 18, it said God was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt would be consummated, even for 10,000 years. So, where the planets are, that is that darkness. And also, if we... okay, Luke 24. Now I'm having trouble remembering what I was... Okay, yeah, right here. Verse 44. So he was I'll just read this and let it say what it's supposed to say. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. Then opened he their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures. And he said unto them, Thus it is written, and thus it behoved Christ to suffer, and to rise from the dead the third day, and that repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. And ye are witnesses of these things. And behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem until ye be endued with power from on high. But, so he's saying to them, they're witnesses of these things, and it was because he opened their understanding that they might understand the scriptures. So what I'm trying to kind of compare this to is that there's things that we're understanding in the scriptures that we never understood before. I'll give you an example. You might have thought I was going to Genesis, because right away the second verse in the Bible is I read it different than I used to, and I'm going to show you why. So in the first verse, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. So right here, though, pay attention to it. It mentions darkness here. It mentions darkness in the second verse, and we got to pay attention to where that is or what it is. And we can't really know everything, but we can know where God is and where the earth is and where the darkness is. We can know this. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Well, I just want to show you this in the Hebrew for verse 2. I just want to show you what that word deep actually is. You know how it said God and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters? Well, the face of the deep, look at deep, sea, abyss. So that's the waters, I think, that it's talking about. And it's an abyss. It's of darkness. It's darkness. And look at some of the other meanings that Strong's Exhaustive Concordance gives it. Confusion, empty place. Wouldn't space be an empty place, guys? A place of nothing, place of darkness. An abyss as a surging mass of water, especially the deep. The main sea or the subterranean water supply, deep place, depth. So it could be, I'm not saying it couldn't be the ocean, I don't know. But I think in the context of some of these, like when it's saying God's Spirit was hovering over those waters, or in the King James it says his Spirit moved over the face of the waters. Well, we know God is in heaven. The Spirit of God is above. He's the Most High God, right? So there's a deep abyss below him of darkness. Well, that happens to be, I'm learning, above the earth. Or maybe it's out from the earth. I don't know the nature of everything, but it's the outer darkness. And I think we're learning why Jesus called it outer darkness, because they're not going towards heaven. They're going out to the edges. They're going out and sideways. That's where they're going, is sideways. They go up for a short little, I don't know how far. They go up for a little ways when they launch a rocket, but in order to go into that place that they call space, you have to move sideways, parallel with the surface of the earth. Parallel. You have to move literally perfectly sideways at orbital velocity, which they think the reason why they call it orbital velocity is because they think it gets you going fast enough that you're going to free fall around the whole earth then. But actually what's happening is they're going into outer darkness, place where you fall perpetually, because it's not even supposed to be a place for flesh and blood. But I'm sure let me show you something else, the reason why I believe some of these things. Okay, flesh and blood. Where was I going? To Enoch. I don't remember where I was going now. Oh yeah, 56. Look at what happens at the end, towards the end. Look at this. And in those days. So first of all, this is talking about the days. In those days, the angels shall return and hurl themselves. It's talking about the angels when they return. Well, and then it says they shall go up and tread underfoot the land of his elect ones. I mean, and the land of his elect ones shall be before them a threshing floor and a highway. What's that? Isn't that New Jerusalem? The land of his elect ones? Isn't that New Jerusalem that comes down out of heaven from God? Probably, yeah, you're right, Zilrin. That's exactly what it was. She said, I think Challenger was at the wrong angle when it hit the firmament. I'll show you some videos right now. That just got... Oh, let me just finish this verse, though. In those days, Sheol shall open its jaws, and they shall be swallowed up therein, and their destruction shall be at an end. Sheol shall devour the sinners in the presence of the elect. We are watching this, you guys. We're the only reason why people don't... They just think it's a ridiculous idea. But they're going into outer darkness. They're being sucked into Sheol. They're sinking into Sheol. That's what it says right here. Right? It says it somewhere else in this book. It says they'll be sinking, or they'll sink into Sheol. So just because it's in the sky that they go, after they go in the sky, that doesn't mean that they're going in the sky anymore. They're going sideways into some place that you have to go a specific speed and at a specific angle, just like Zillerin was saying, in order to get into orbit the Earth, like the ISS, or to get to the ISS or anything that's in that low Earth orbit, or the solar system at all. The solar system. Anything in the solar system is perpetually in a state of free fall. According to the solar system, I'm saying. I don't live in a solar system. That's what I was taught. I don't live in a solar system. Because in the solar system, the Earth is orbiting the sun and the moon is orbiting the Earth. And everything has gravity and everything's pulling, attracting with mass or whatever they say. It's whatever about space-time. All these different theories, whatever. But the solar system is not where we live. Nobody ever saw a solar system. Nobody's ever even... Like, if I tell you to think of the solar system, where are you when you're thinking of... I mean, like, look at the image in your mind and where's that image viewing it from? You're looking at a cartoon, aren't you? I am. When I think of the solar system, I'm thinking of a big black place where there's like a big fire sun and these things are like zinging around it, you know. They're orbiting it, and they're doing their own thing, and they're all spinning, they're all rotating, and they're all in motion, and they're all spheres, and they're in the place of darkness. That's just a big darkness. But some of the physics of that so-called place, they match to the physics on the Earth. So they say when we drop a pencil and it falls to the floor, it's because of the mass of the Earth, the size of the Earth that causes that to move at that's whatever it is, 9.8 to whatever it is, second or meters per second squared. 9.8 maybe. I don't know. I don't really care. Stuff falls at the speed that it falls at. Usually, if you don't want to be you that's falling, because, you know, anyone that's ever taken a spill knows you fall way faster than you can react to it usually. But that's what they're doing in the solar system. Everything's falling around something else that's a little bit bigger or whatever, has more gravity. So that place is imaginary. That place is a concept only. No one ever saw that. No one ever saw anything going around the sun. Have you ever seen something go around the sun? Like, just think about it. Tomorrow when the sun goes up, have you ever seen anything going around that? I don't think so. The only thing we've ever seen is, like, maybe we saw Mercury in front of the sun. It passed in front of the sun. Woo! That means that we're in a solar system? Sorry. Doesn't happen that way in my world. I just have to say that I believe what the Bible says and what the Book of Enoch is. Let me just show you something about the Book of Enoch. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like that book, or they doubt that book, or they think it feels dangerous to read it or something. But I just want to remind, first of all, after I read and studied the Book of Enoch, or have been, that's when I've learned that 1st and 2nd and 3rd Peter and the Book of Jude and a lot of the things that I read in the Bible are nearly quoting the Book of Enoch. Like, especially Jude. Jude even brings up the Book of Enoch. Jude says that Enoch prophesied these things or whatever. So definitely the Book of Enoch is something, yeah, it might be controversial, but it's actually got... Oh, I was going to show you guys something about the hitting the firmament at the right angle. Want to see what happens? I just want to show you this. Where are we? I lost my program again. Okay, good. You got desktop. Let's just watch this short video. The very beginning of the Book of Enoch, something is said in there that's quite interesting, and I think a lot of people will understand it, and a lot of people might. Who knows? But check this out. Are we living in the day of tribulation? Listen to what the book of Enoch, chapter 1, verses 1 and 2 and 3 say. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed me. And from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come. Concerning the elect I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling. And it continues on. But that said that these words are a blessing to the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation. Just so you know, they're a blessing to me. I think we are living in those days. So yeah, that first couple verses, first few verses in the book of Enoch kind of give the context for the whole book. It's like, this information in this book isn't for now, it's for that final generation. It's for those people in the very last day. They're going to need it. And it'll be a blessing to them. And I'll tell you what, the information that I've learned in that book, it's both a blessing and like scary though at the same time. And I know that some people understand that. Let me show you something, just to show you that this is the things Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX are more extreme than you might understand. They're scary. This is the Starship booster with the Starship kind of hanging over it there. See, with rockets, you know what the big deal is, right? You know that the bigger they make them, the more tonnage they can launch into low Earth orbit or into space, whatever you want to say. So they build them like this because the bigger the better, the more you can lift. And just the idea of that, I saw Thomas mention Jasher in the chat a while back. I haven't read the book of Jasher on my channel. I should. That's a long book, but I should read that on my channel. I should make a video. I will. I'm going to work on that. But in Jasher chapter 9, it talks about these people when they were building the Tower of Babel. They were wicked in their hearts, and the building of the tower was a sin against God. They were trying to attack God or kill God or whatever, and it said that their wicked hearts wanted to ascend into heaven, and then there was like three groups of people that it divided them up into, and the first one wanted to smite God or they wanted to go up there and kill God or something. I think that's what it was. And the second group, they wanted to place their own gods in heaven and serve them. And the third group wanted to smite him with bows and spears. What's a rocket? And what's a satellite? Put their gods up there and serve them instead? Like the Book of Jasher, that just described the space program, if you ask me. The Tower of Babel, take two, you know. Take worst. Take the end. That's what it is. That's, you know, the first time that there was a flood. And there's another time when God's wrath is going to come. And we listened to it in Daniel 7 when it was started, but we didn't get too much detail from that. But in Daniel 7, we know that it all changed at some point, and that dominion was taken away from the beasts that had it, and the saints themselves took it from him, from the beasts. So can I say flat earth, NASA lies, space is fake? Do you guys see that happening? Do you guys see that dominion being taken away? And then even things like that, like at the beginning of this stream with the Russian, international cooperation on the space station dwindling. What happens? What happens? You know that Rogozin or whatever? I could probably find it. He said, someone asked him a question. I can't remember. It was a Twitter thing. And he said, something about one of the astronauts, will they not fly on the Soyuz or something? Or it was a launching astronaut that they were asking about. And he said, well, maybe they won't fly anymore. Maybe they won't fly anymore, like any more rockets. Like they just might be done. And to be honest, like, think about it. Look what Elon Musk is doing. He's already taken over the whole heavens with his Starlink satellites. And I'm going from the point of view of these space companies. They think that it's a race, to it's free real estate. That's what my friend told me when we were talking about it one time, and it was like such a good description of it. Elon Musk sees the sky, sees the heavens, the place I call God's throne. He sees that as free real estate to do whatever with. So, yeah. I believe in a different heaven than I used to. Check this out, Zurin. Here's the firmament video. I kept forgetting to just check this out. I don't know if I have sound on it or not. I don't think I do. This is a bunch of different videos of times when the shockwave was visible as they went through the speed of sound, or the sound barrier. Right there. That's definitely something rippling across the sky. And yeah, our science would say that's a shockwave. It's easy to explain. No, you know what? You're wrong about that. It's not easy to explain. You have an explanation that you consider simple. Good for you. Most people that would look at this and kind of say, that's just a shockwave. There's nothing special about that. Planes do it all the time. So when planes break the speed of sound, that's not a limitation of our reality being kind of passed through. Sound travels so fast through a medium, and we've figured out a way to go faster than that sound. And the sound that the vehicle that goes faster than that sound makes goes faster than the vehicle? What? Or the vehicle goes faster than the sound that it's making? That's, like, kind of weird, but that's what happens. The sound can't keep up with the vehicle. So that's why when these things land, there's a big sonic boom. It's like, boom! Same exact sound as when a meteor comes in from and burns up or whatever, like that one in Russia in 2013 or whatever. We live in strange times, my friends. Let's see here. That's about all I got for you, except I got a little, let's play this video. I just want to share some of these things. So, space. One time the shuttle was in space, and some experiment they were doing broke off the shuttle. And here's a video of it, and then that's going to be the end of this stream. And thank you for coming. I hope I'm trying to be as clear as I can. Oh, and then what I was going to say, Buzzin23. I gave you that link. I hope that was to the Book of John or whatever on YouTube. Because there's like dramatized version, and like if you're just like laying in bed listening to it, it's like pretty like it'll keep your attention. It's like the Book of John. I mean, it's kind of sad, and then it's good. But all the like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those are all like that. And then like if you listen to the Book of Revelation, that's just wild. But those dramatized versions, they're pretty good. Like I love that channel. I've been listening to those, you know, while I'm driving or while I'm working or whatever. That it's just, I like the dramatized ones. I do. I like how they. I mean, I don't like all of them. I guess some of them I don't like, but you can also listen to the Book of Enoch on. Yeah, actually, if you type any kind of, you know, any verse or any book of the Bible or whatever into YouTube, you'll get hundreds of you know, a lot of the things would be like studies of it, but right away if you just type in Bible or whatever, anything like that, there's good stuff. And I have never really listened to or read stuff in the Bible that didn't teach me something, whether it was teaching me something like super important or not. But it's filled with the Word of God is what I would say. Because, you know, like if you pick up a book that's inspired by a higher power and you start reading it, you're probably going to be learning from that higher power while you're reading that book. And so, you know, I'm not saying it's the paper or the cardboard that it's made of or whatever. It's more than that. And it's probably not only just the Bible. It's probably, I think it's the Apocrypha and these other books like the Book of Enoch and all these, the Second Esdras and the Apocalypse of Abraham, the Apocalypse of Elijah. There's so many good books that seem to be like, I didn't know where these things were. Trina Lane said, what happened to... Oh, no, don't tell me, Jesus Freak, Computer Geek. He did a live this morning, I believe. Right? Yeah, he did a live this morning. Jesus Freak did. And I caught the very end of it, and it kind of sounded like he was like, I hope my channel's still here later. I hope nothing happened to his channel. Yeah, I don't know I never got a chance to go and listen to the beginning of it. I caught it at the very end, so I just said hi to everyone in the chat. But he sounded a little nervous at the end, like he maybe was talking about something. I don't know. Who knows? So here we go. Here's the NASA video of what I believe to be unclean spirits or something. I don't know, any number of names we could call them. Fallen angels, devils, demons. I don't really know. Okay, so you see all those things? I don't know what they are, but they sure... That's footage taken from the shuttle. That's NASA footage. You can watch it on YouTube. They still got it up. So, one other thing. Bonus round. when we were clicking, or when that video was playing, sorry, I was clicking around on my videos, and I found the Vision of Isaiah. What this is, it's like a half hour long. I think I might play it, but what it is it's me reading. I think it's like from chapter 6 to the end of the Ascension of Isaiah. But the beginning part was kind of a different story. But he has a vision where he goes up into the heavens, and that's what this. I read that here, and I gotta warn you that this book, the Ascension of Isaiah, the way that it's written, the wording, to me anyway, it seems somewhat awkward. Just the way the sentences are put together, and I did really have a hard time reading it, but I did my best. But it's quite an interesting vision, and I believe what he is actually being a witness of is the return of Jesus into this world, and all the things, the things in heaven happening that we don't see, but Isaiah got to see some of them, and wrote down some of these kind of strange things, and kind of a lot of it is really interesting. It talks about the name of Jesus even, and that his name couldn't even be known by anyone dwelling in the flesh, but until when they had their heavenly garments could they learn his name. And but he said, but he'll be called Lord Jesus Christ on the earth. Interesting, huh? So check this vision out, and after that I'll end the stream. But I just saw this, I'm like, I'm gonna play this because I haven't heard it for a long time myself. So, and thank you guys all for hanging out. I appreciate you checking out my channel and whatever. So here we go. The vision which Isaiah the son of Amos saw. In the 20th year of the reign of Hezekiah, king of Judah, came Isaiah the son of Amos, and Josab the son of Isaiah to Hezekiah, to Jerusalem from Gilgal. And having entered, he sat down on the couch of the king, and they brought him a seat, but he would not sit thereon. And when Isaiah began to speak the words of faith and truth with King Hezekiah, all the princes of Israel were seated, and the eunuchs and the counselors of the king. And there were 40 prophets and sons of the prophets. They had come from the villages and from the mountains and the plains, when they had heard that Isaiah was coming from Gilgal to Hezekiah. And they had come to salute him and to hear his words, and that he might place his hands upon them, and that they might prophesy, and that he might hear their prophecy. And they were all before Isaiah. And when Isaiah was speaking to Hezekiah the words of truth and faith, they all heard a door which one had opened, and the voice of the Holy Spirit. And the king summoned all the prophets and all the people who were found there, and they came. And Micaiah and the aged Ananias and Joel and Josab sat on his right hand and on the left. And it came to pass, when they had all heard the voice of the Holy Spirit, they all worshipped on their knees and glorified the God of truth, the Most High, who is in the upper world, and who sits on high, the Holy One, who rests among his holy ones. And they gave glory to him who had thus bestowed a door in an alien world, had bestowed it on a man. And as he was speaking in the Holy Spirit, in the hearing of all, he became silent, and his mind was taken up from him, and he saw not the men that stood before him, though his eyes indeed were open. Moreover, his lips were silent, and the mind in his body was taken up from him. But his breath was in him, for he was seeing a vision. And the angel who was sent to make him see was not of this firmament, nor was he of the angels of glory of this world, but he had come from the seventh heaven. And the people who stood near did not think, but the circle of the prophets did, that the holy Isaiah had been taken up. And the vision which the holy Isaiah saw was not from this world, but from the world which is hidden from the flesh. And after Isaiah had seen this vision, he narrated it to Hezekiah, and to Josab his son, and to the other prophets who had come. But the leaders and the eunuchs and the people did not hear, but only Sama the scribe, and Joachim, and Asaph the recorder. For these also were doers of righteousness, and the sweet smell of the Spirit was upon them. But the people had not heard, for Micaiah and Josab his son had caused them to go forth, when the wisdom of this world had been taken from him, and he became as one dead. Chapter 7. And the vision which Isaiah saw, he told to Hezekiah and Josab his son, and Micaiah and the rest of the prophets, and said, At this moment, when I prophesied according to the words heard which ye heard, I saw a glorious angel, not like unto the glory of the angels which I used always to see, but possessing such glory and position that I cannot describe the glory of that angel. And having seized me by my hand, he raised me on high. And I said unto him, Who art thou, and what is thy name? And whither art thou raising me on high? For strength was given me to speak with him. And he said unto me, Well, I have raised thee on high, through the various degrees, and made thee see a vision, on account of which I had been sent. Then thou wilt understand who I am, but my name thou dost not know. Because thou wilt return into this thy body, but whether I am raising thee on high, thou wilt see. For this purpose have I been sent. And I rejoiced because he spake courteously to me. And he said unto me, Hast thou rejoiced because I have spoken courteously to thee? And he said, And thou wilt see how a greater also that I am will speak courteously and peaceable with thee. And his Father also, who is greater, thou wilt see. For this purpose I have been sent from the seventh heaven, in order to explain all these things unto thee. And we ascended to the firmament, I and he, and there I saw Samuel and his hosts, and there was great fighting therein, and the angels of Satan were envying one another. Sorry, I had to pause it, guys. Because did you hear what that just said? I just want to point it out that when I'm talking about space being a bottomless pit, and it being in the firmament, it's not just because it's an idea I have. It's not my idea. In order to explain all these things unto thee. And we ascended to the firmament, I and he, and there I saw Samuel and his hosts, and there was great fighting therein, and the angels of Satan were envying one another. And as above, so on the earth also, for the likeness of that which is in the firmament is here on the earth. And I said unto the angel who was with me, What is this war, and what is this envying? And he said unto me, So has it been since the world was made until now, and this war will continue till he, whom thou shalt see, will come and destroy him. And afterwards he caused me to ascend to that which is above the firmament, which is the first heaven. And there I saw a throne in the midst, and on his right and on his left were angels. And the angels on the left were not like unto the angels who stood on the right, but those who stood on the right had greater glory, and they praised with one voice, and there was a throne in the midst. And those who were out he left gave praise after them. But their voice was not such as the voice of those on the right, nor their praise like the praise of those. And I asked the angel who conducted me, and I said unto him, To whom is this praise sent? And he said unto me, It is sent to the praise of him who sitteth in the seventh heaven, to him who rests in the holy world, and to his beloved, whence I have been sent to thee. Thither is it sent. And again he made me ascend to the second heaven. Now the height of that heaven is the same as from the heaven to the earth, and to the firmament. And I saw there, as in the first heaven, angels on the right and on the left, and a throne in the midst, and the praise of the angels in the second heaven. And he who sat on the throne in the second heaven was more glorious than all the rest. And there was great glory in the second heaven. And the praise also was not like the praise of those who were in the first heaven. And I fell on my face to worship him, but the angel who conducted me did not permit me, and said unto me, Worship neither throne nor angel, which belongs to the six heavens, for this cause I was sent to conduct thee, until I tell thee in the seventh heaven. For above all the heavens and all their angels has thy throne been placed, and thy garments and thy crown which thou shalt see. And I rejoiced with great joy that those who love the Most High and his beloved will afterwards ascend thither by the angel of the Holy Spirit. And he raised me to the third heaven, and in like manner I saw those upon the right and upon the left, and there was a throne there in the midst. But the memorial of this world is there unheard of. And I said to the angel who was with me, For the glory of my appearance was undergoing transformation as I ascended to each heaven in turn. Nothing of the vanity of that world is named here. He answered me and said unto me, Nothing is named on account of its weakness, and nothing is hidden there of what is done. And I wished to learn how it is to know, and he answered me, saying, When I have raised thee to the seventh heaven, whence I was sent, to that which is above all these, then thou shalt know, and there is nothing hidden from the thrones, and from those who dwell in the heavens, and from the angels. And the praise wherewith they praised, and glory of him who sat on the throne was great, and the glory of the angels on the right hand and on the left was beyond that of the heaven which was below them. And again he raised me to the fourth heaven, and the height from the third to the height from the third to the fourth heaven was greater than from the earth to the firmament. And there again I saw those who were on the right hand and those who were on the left, and him who sat on the throne was in the midst, and there also they were praising, and the praise and the glory of the angels on the right was greater than those on the left. And again the glory of him who sat on the throne was greater than that of the angels on the right, and their glory was beyond that of those who were below. And he raised me to the fifth heaven. And again I saw those upon the right hand and on the left, and him who sat on the throne possessing greater glory than those of the fourth heaven. And the glory of those on the right hand was greater than that of those on the left, from the third to the fourth. And the glory of him who was on the throne was greater than that of the angels on the right hand, and their praise was more glorious than the fourth heaven. And I praised him who is not named in the only begotten who dwelleth in the heavens, whose name is not known to any flesh, but who has bestowed such glory on the several heavens, and who makes great the glory of the angels, and more excellent the glory of him who sitteth on the throne. Chapter 8. And again he raised me into the air of the sixth heaven, and I saw such glory as I had not seen in the five heavens. For I saw angels possessing great glory, and the praise there was holy and wonderful. And I said to the angel who conducted me, What is this which I see, my Lord? And he said, I am not thy Lord, but thy fellow servant. And again I asked him, and I said unto him, why are there not angelic fellow servants on the left? And he said, from the sixth heaven there are no longer angels on the left, nor a throne set in the midst, but they are directed by the power of the seventh heaven, where dwelleth he that is not named, and the elect one, whose name has not been made known, and none of the heavens can learn his name. For it is he alone to whose voice all the heavens and thrones give answer. I have therefore been empowered and sent to raise thee here, that thou mayest see his glory, and that thou mayest see the Lord of all those heavens and these thrones, undergoing successive transformation until he resembles you, your form and likeness. I indeed say unto thee, Isaiah, no man about to return into a body of that world has ascended or seen what thou seest, or perceived what thou hast perceived, and what thou wilt see. For it has been permitted to thee in the lot of the Lord to come thither, and from thence comes the power of the sixth heaven and of the air. And I magnified my Lord with praise, in that through his lot I should come hither. And he said, hear furthermore, therefore, this also from thy fellow servant, when from the body by the will of God thou hast descended hither. Then thou wilt receive the garment which thou seest, and likewise other numbered garments laid up there thou wilt see. And then thou wilt become equal to the angels of the seventh heaven. And he raised me up into the sixth heaven, and there were no angels on the left, nor a throne in the midst, but all had one appearance, and their power and of praise was equal. And power was given to me also, and I also praised along with them, and that angel also, and our praise was like theirs. And there they all named the primal Father and his beloved the Christ and the Holy Spirit, all with one voice. And their voice was not like the voice of the angel in the five heavens, nor like their discourse, but the voice was different there, and there was much light there. And then, when I was in the sixth heaven, I thought the light which I had seen in the five heavens to be but darkness. And I rejoiced and praised him who hath bestowed such lights on those who wait for his promise. And I besought the angel who conducted me, that I should not henceforth return to the carnal world. I say indeed unto you, Hezekiah and Joseph my son and Micaiah, that there is much darkness here. And the angel who conducted me discovered what I thought, and said, if in this light thou dost rejoice, how much more wilt thou rejoice when in the seventh heaven thou seest the light, where is the Lord and his beloved, whence I have been sent, who is to be called Son in this world. Not yet hath been manifested, he shall be in the corruptible world. And the garments and the thrones and the crowns which are laid up for the righteous and for those who trust in that Lord, who will descend in your form. For the light which is there is great and wonderful. And concerning thy not returning into thy body, thy days are not yet fulfilled for coming here. And when I heard that, I was troubled, and he said, do not be troubled. Chapter 9. And he took me into the air of the seventh heaven. And moreover, I heard a voice saying, how far will he ascend that dwelleth in the flesh? And I feared and trembled, and when I trembled, behold, I heard from hence another voice being sent forth, and saying, it is permitted to the holy Isaiah to ascend hither, for here is his garment. And I asked the angel who was with me, and said, who is he who forbade me, and who is he who permitted me to ascend? And he said unto me, he who forbade thee is he who is over the praise-giving of the sixth heaven, and he who permitted thee This is thy Lord God, the Lord Christ, who will be called Jesus in the world. But his name thou canst not hear till thou hast ascended out of thy body. And he raised me up into the seventh heaven, and I saw there a wonderful light, and angels innumerable. And there I saw holy Abel and all the righteous, and there I saw Enoch and all who were with him, stripped of the garments of the flesh. And I saw them in their garments of the upper world, and they were like angels, standing there in great glory. But they sat not on their thrones, nor were there crowns of glory on them. And I asked the angel who was with me, How is it that they have received the garments, but have not the thrones and crowns? And he said unto me, Crowns and thrones of glory they do not receive, till the beloved will descend in the form in which you will see him descend, I say, into the world in the last days, the Lord who will be called Christ. Nevertheless, they see and know whose will be thrones and whose the crowns, when he has descended and been made in your form, and they will think that he is flesh and is a man. And the God of that world will stretch forth his hand against the Son, and they will crucify him on a tree, and will slay him, not knowing who he is. And thus his descent, as you will see, will be hidden even from the heavens, so that it will not be known who he is. And when he hath plundered the angel of death, he will ascend on the third day, and he will remain in that world 545 days. And then many of the righteous will ascend with him, whose spirits do not receive their garment till the Lord Christ ascend, and they ascend with him. They will receive their garments and thrones and crowns, when he has ascended into the seventh heaven. And I said unto him that which I had asked him in the third heaven, Show me how everything which is done in that world is here made known. And whilst I was still speaking with him, behold, one of the angels who stood nigh, more glorious than the glory of that angel who had raised me up from the world, showed me a book, but not as a book of this world. And he opened it, and the book was written, but not as a book of this world. And he gave it to me, and I read it, and lo, the deeds of the children of Israel were written therein, and the deeds of those whom I know not, my son Josab. And I said, In truth, there is nothing hidden in the seventh heaven which is done in the world. And I saw there many garments laid up, and many crowns and thrones and many crowns. And I said to the angel, Whose are these garments and thrones and crowns? And he said unto me, These garments many from that world will receive, believing in the words of that one, who shall be named as I told thee, and they will observe those things, and believe in them, and believe in his cross, for them are these laid up. And I saw a certain one standing, whose glory surpassed that of all, and his glory was great and wonderful. And after I had seen him, all the righteous whom I had seen, and also the angels whom I had seen, came to him. And Adam and Abel and Seth and all the righteous first drew near and worshipped him. And they all praised him with one voice, and I myself also gave praise with them. And my giving of praise was as theirs. And then all the angels drew nigh and worshipped and gave praise. And I was again transformed and became like an angel. And thereupon the angel who conducted me said to me, Worship this one. And I worshipped and praised. And the angel said unto me, This is the Lord of all the praise-givings which thou hast seen. And whilst I was speaking, I saw another glorious one who was like him. And the righteous drew nigh and worshipped and praised, and I praised together with them, but my glory was not transformed in accordance with their form. And thereupon the angels drew near and worshipped him. And I saw the Lord and the second angel, and they were standing. And the second whom I saw was on the left of my Lord. And I asked, Who is this? And he said unto me, Worship him, for he is the angel of the Holy Spirit, who speaketh in thee, and the rest of the righteous. And I saw the great glory, the eyes of my spirit being open, and I could not thereupon see, nor yet could the angel who was with me, nor all the angels whom I had seen worshiping my Lord. But I saw the righteous beholding with great power and glory of that one. And my Lord drew nigh to me an angel of the Spirit, and he said, See how it is given to thee to see God, and on thy account power is given to the angel who is with thee. And I saw how my Lord and the angel of the Spirit worshipped, and they both together praised God. And thereupon all the righteous drew near and worshipped, and the angels drew near and worshipped, and all the angels praised. Chapter 10. And thereupon I heard the voices and the giving of praise, which I had heard in each of the 6 heavens, ascending and being heard there. And all were being sent up to that glorious one, whose glory I could not behold. And I myself was hearing and beholding the praise which was given to him. And the Lord and the angel of the Spirit were beholding all and hearing all. And all the praises which are sent up from the 6 heavens are not only heard, but seen. And I heard the angel who conducted me, and he said, This is the Most High of the high ones, dwelling in the holy world, and resting in his holy ones, who will be called by the Holy Spirit through the lips of the righteous, the Father of the Lord. And I heard the voice of the Most High, the Father of my Lord, saying to my Lord Christ, who will be called Jesus, Go forth and descend through all the heavens, and thou wilt descend to the firmament and that world, to the angel in Sheol wilt thou descend. But to Haguel thou wilt not go. And thou wilt become like unto the likeness of all who are in the 5 heavens, and thou wilt be careful to become like the form of the angels of the firmament, and the angels who are also in Sheol. And none of the angels of that world shall know that thou art with me, of the 7 heavens and of their angels. And they shall not know that thou art with me, till with a loud voice I have called to the heavens, and their angels, and their lights, even unto the 6th heaven, in order that thou mayest judge and destroy the princes and angels and gods of that world, and the world that is dominated by them. For they have denied me, and said, We alone are, and there is none beside us. And afterwards, from the angel of death thou wilt ascend to thy place, and thou wilt not be transformed in each heaven, but in glory wilt thou ascend and sit on my right hand. And thereupon the princes and powers of that world will worship thee. These commands I heard, the great glory given to my Lord. And so I saw my Lord go forth from the 7th heaven into the 6th heaven, and the angel who conducted me from this world was with me, and said unto me, Understand, Isaiah, and see the transformation and descent of the Lord will appear. And I saw, and when the angels saw him, thereupon those in the 6th heaven praised and lauded him, for he had not been transformed after the shape of the angels there. And they praised him, and I also praised with them. And I saw when he descended into the 5th heaven, that in the 5th heaven he made himself like unto the form of the angels there, and they did not praise him, nor worship him, for his form was like unto theirs. And then he descended into the 4th heaven, and made himself like unto the form of the angels there. And when they saw him, they did not praise or laud him, for his form was like unto their form. And again I saw when he descended into the 3rd heaven, and he made himself like unto the form of the angels in the 3rd heaven. And those who kept the gate of the 3rd heaven demanded the password, and the Lord gave it to them in order that he should not be recognized. And when they saw him, they did not praise or laud him, for his form was like unto their form. And again I saw when he descended into the 2nd heaven, and again he gave the password there, for those who kept the gate proceeded to demand that the Lord to give. And I saw when he made himself like unto the form of the angels in the 2nd heaven, and they saw him and did not praise him, for his form was like unto their form. And again I saw when he descended into the 1st heaven, and there also he gave the password to those who kept the gate, and he made himself like unto the form of the angels who were on the left of that throne, and they neither praised or lauded him, for his form was like unto their form. But as for me, no one asked me on account of the angel who conducted me. And again he descended into the firmament, where dwelleth the ruler of this world. And he gave the password to those on the left, and his form was like theirs. And they did not praise him there, but they were envying one another and fighting. For here is there a power of evil and envying about trifles. And I saw when he descended and made himself like unto the angels of the air, and he was like one of them. And he gave no password, for one was plundering and doing violence to another. Chapter 11. After this I saw, and the angel who spoke with me, who conducted me, said unto me, Understand, Isaiah son of Amos, for this purpose have I been sent from God. And I indeed saw a woman of the family of David the prophet, named Mary, and virgin, and she was espoused to a man named Joseph, a carpenter. And he also was of the seed and family of the righteous David of Bethlehem, Judah. And he came into his lot, and when she was espoused, she was found with child, and Joseph the carpenter was desirous to put her away. But the angel of the Spirit appeared in this world, and after Joseph did not put her away, but kept Mary, and did not reveal this matter to anyone. And he did not approach Mary, but kept her as a holy virgin, though with child. And he did not live with her for 2 months. And after 2 months of days, while Joseph was in his house, and Mary his wife, but both alone, it came to pass that when they were alone, that Mary straightway looked with her eyes, and saw a small babe, and she was astonished. And after she had been astonished, her womb was found as formerly before she had conceived. And when her husband Joseph said unto her, What has astonished thee? His eyes were opened, and he saw the infant, and praised God. Because into his portion God had come. And a voice came to them, Tell this vision to no one. And the story regarding the infant was noised abroad in Bethlehem. Some said, The Virgin Mary hath borne a child before she was married 2 months. And many said, She has not borne a child, nor has a midwife gone up to her, nor have we heard the cries of labor pains. And they were all blinded respecting him, and they all knew regarding him, though they knew not whence he was. And they took him, and went to Nazareth in Galilee. And I saw, O Hezekiah, and Joseph my son, and I declare to the other prophets also who are standing by, that this hath escaped all the heavens, and all the princes, and all the gods of this world. And I saw, in Nazareth he sucked the breast as a babe, and as is customary, in order that he might not be recognized. And when he had grown up, he worked great signs and wonders in the land of Israel and of Jerusalem. And after this, the adversary envied him, and roused the children of Israel against him, not knowing who he was. And they delivered him to the king, and crucified him, and he descended to the angel of Sheol. In Jerusalem indeed I was him being crucified on a tree. And likewise after the 3rd day rise again, and remain days. And the angel who conducted me said, Understand, Isaiah. And I saw when he sent out the 12 apostles and ascended. And I saw him, and he was in the firmament. But he had not changed himself into their form. And all the angels of the firmament and the Satans saw him, and they worshipped. And there was much sorrow there, while they said, How did our Lord descend in our midst, and we perceived not the glory which had been upon him, which we see has been upon him from the 6th heaven? And he ascended into the 2nd heaven. And he did not transform himself, but all the angels who were on the right and on the left, and the throne in the midst, both worshipped and praised him, and said, How did our Lord escape us while descending, and we perceived not? And in like manner he ascended into the 3rd heaven, and they praised and said in like manner. And in the 4th heaven, and in the 5th also they said precisely after the same manner. But there was one glory, and from it he did not change himself. And I saw when he ascended into the 6th heaven, and they worshipped and glorified him. But in all the heavens the praise increased in volume. And I saw how he ascended into the 7th heaven. and all the righteous and all the angels praised him. And then I saw him sit down on the right hand of that great glory, whose glory I told you that I could not behold. And also the angel of the Holy Spirit I saw sitting on the left hand. And this angel said unto me, Isaiah, son of Amos, it is enough for thee, for thou hast seen what no child of flesh has seen, and thou wilt return into thy garment of the flesh until the days are completed, then thou wilt come hither. These things Isaiah saw, and told unto all that stood before him, and they praised. And he spake to Hezekiah the king, and said, I have spoken these things, both the end of this world, and all the vision will be consummated in the last generations. And Isaiah made him swear that he would not tell it to the people of Israel, nor give these words to any man to transcribe. Such things ye will read, and watch ye in the Holy Spirit, in order that they may receive your garments and thrones and crowns of glory, which are laid up in the seventh heaven. On account of these visions and prophecies Samuel Satan sawed in sunder Isaiah the son of Amos, the prophet, by the hand of Manasseh. And all these things Hezekiah delivered to Manasseh in the 26th year. But Manasseh did not remember them, nor place these things in his heart, but becoming the servant of Satan, he was destroyed. Here endeth the vision of Isaiah the prophet with his ascension.